But the most important part to me is the Milwaukee Children's Zones. It gives us an opportunity to wrap services around young people. It gives us an opportunity to do better collaborative services in neighborhoods and to create that, and to be able to address the needs that we know exist in children who have poverty, their families have poverty issues. It gives the opportunity for community involvement. This is a part of the plan that is modeled after the Harlem Children's Zones that have, great success. Just a few more moments. It is also apparent that in this legislative discussion, there are many misconceptions that we must address. There isn't enough time today for me to be able to address them all, but I want to address a few. First, it is not undemocratic to make a mayor elected by the people responsible for the schools in Milwaukee, who can collaborate services. It's not. More people exercise their right to participate in our democracy when electing a mayor than a school board. It's an issue important to both Representative Colon and myself. Second, this bill is not an attack on unions. Not only is it not an attack, but one subject that one point you need to understand is that this bill, not one part of it, prohibits collective bargaining. It doesn't take away a worker's right to unionize and have collective bargaining. It maintains that. The TEACH Act changes the actor, though, in the bargaining, from the board to the superintendent. Third, the Milwaukee TEACH Act is not and has never been a pro-school choice or charter bill. You will quickly notice that the only time that the Milwaukee Parental Choice Program is even mentioned is in one place, which is on page 36 of the bill, and that's only because in current law, it's in that section of the bill, and so it just corresponds in that way. Fourth, to say that this transformational change is not an element of or important to our state's Race to the Top application is to avoid the painfully obvious facts. It is accurate that Wisconsin needs to make no changes to MPS governance to qualify for Race to the Top funds. However, making no change greatly hinders the success of our application, because one of the things that you have to show is that when you do change, that change will be able to be consistent and maintained. That is a problem that our present structure does not allow, has not allowed. It is readily apparent to any person who reads the Race to the Top application or has listened to the president or the education secretary, Arnie Duncan, the people making the Race to the Top decisions, that the administration is seeking evidence of a massive transformational change that will add weight to a state's application. It's the two words that our president said, transformational change, when he came to Wisconsin. I am confidently saying that without transformational change to MPS, every school district in Wisconsin is threatened with the loss of Race to the Top funds. To close, there are no quick fixes. I don't suggest that governance change is a silver bullet. There are no easy answers to this crisis. It's significant. But we have never argued mayoral governance is an easy solution or one that would be entered into lightly. It is clear, however, that struggling urban districts like Milwaukee have seen results under this form of governance. We cannot continue to wait. Our children cannot wait. Unemployment is difficult for a company if children are not prepared when they come out. Wisconsin and every district in Wisconsin cannot wait. I ask for the scheduling of a vote, Mr. Chairman, of this bill and your favorable consideration so that the legislature may act on this bill prior to January 19th, the Race to the Top deadline. I would recognize now my distinguished colleague and co-author, Representative Pedro.
Thank you, Senator Taylor. Good morning, Chairman Lincoln and committee members. Thank you for allowing me to testify in support of Senate Bill 405 as the author of its companion in the Assembly. Senate Bill 405, also known as the Milwaukee Transforms Education for All Children, the TEACH Act, aims to give the mayor of Milwaukee major responsibilities for education in Milwaukee while maintaining the elected school board with modified powers. By placing the major functions squarely on the shoulders of the highest elected official in the city, the act creates a legal framework for the political and educational accountability of educational outcomes for children that attend Milwaukee Public Schools. The Act's transfer of power from MPS to the from the MPS Board of Directors to the mayor is not permanent, as the Act requires a citywide referendum by 2017 for the change in governance to become permanent. If voters want to revert to a school board, they can choose to do so at the ballot box. This referendum is important because it puts the burden on the mayor and those of us who want to change governance to improve education and its fiscal trends by 2017, where the voters in the city can revert to the current system. Giving the mayor of Milwaukee the major responsibilities of her MPS ensures that the city achieve political coherence to pursue a political agenda at every level of government, local, state, and federal. Allowing the mayor to craft a budget, hire the superintendent, and make other important decisions will increase political outcomes and insert an invisible target of political accountability. This bill puts the mayor at the heart of one of the most essential issues in education, school funding, including reversing all of the flaws such as the unequal payment of voucher students by the state and the recapturing of monies that are transferred to suburbs under the open enrollment program. When you have the challenges of the poorest district in the state, coupled with the perverse incentives in the areas of school choice and open enrollment that cost this district millions of dollars, we do not have the luxury to exempt our chief executive officer, that is the mayor, from providing an agenda that will begin to remedy the failed educational policies of the recent past. Policies that have brought us to these difficulties will not disappear overnight. However, it is my opinion that without a strong executive voice pursuing an aggressive agenda for the children that attend the public schools, children which are increasingly poor, increasingly immigrant, increasingly proportionally learning disabled, we will not be able to maintain the fiscal or political viability of MPS for very long. The school board is not equipped to handle these challenges. Most of the difficult policies that affect children are driven by state and federal law, and the only person that can galvanize the type of political attention required to fix the MPS problems is the mayor in concert with the governor. The school board cannot galvanize such support from the vantage point of its very provincial representation of the interests not of the whole city, but of the very distinct neighborhoods which they are elected to represent. Often we hear of the achievement gap between white and black students, and little attention is paid to the educational outcomes of the Latino and Hmong students in this district. The Latino student population is 22.6% of the 85,000 students that attend Milwaukee Public Schools, up from approximately 12% a decade ago. However, as the Latino student population continues to grow, the evidence shows that we are increasingly failing Latino kids. In the South Side, where the majority of the Latino and Hmong population attends school, two high schools, South Division and Pulaski, have been found to be schools identified for improvement. Simply put, these are schools where we can't establish that a good number of children are learning very much. Both high schools are located in the South Side of Milwaukee, one in my assembly district with the highest Latino population in the state, and the other one just to the south of my district, which has an increasingly Latino population. Unfortunately, as the Latino population grows, so does the poor performance of schools that these children are most likely to attend. If we don't aggressively seek to intercede on behalf of these students, we will fail our city and its economy. In the 2008-2009 Department of Public Instruction Annual Review Performance shows that Latino students and English language learners enter high school without the proficiency in basic mathematical and reading skills. A few months ago, a federal complaint was filed at the Office of Civil Rights in the U.S. Department of Education by the League of United Latin American Citizens of Wisconsin, citing that MPS was not effectively teaching English to Spanish-speaking students. The complaint developed after a series of families, students, and educators voiced their concerns. According to an interview with the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reporter, Georgia Papp's former school board member Jennifer Morales indicated that in the 70s, quote, the district had a hiring boom and a lot of those Latino administrators hired then have retired. So there has been a loss of Latino leadership that must be replaced, Jennifer Morales said. In fact, today we do not even have a Latino-influenced school district or Latino representation on the school board, because to date the school board has failed to act in this regard and has only directly acted in response to criticisms by the community and directly by this legislation. When you have an institution not showing concern for the largest growth group in its market, you wonder how long the institution will remain open for business.